From the studios of WFAN and simulcast across the country via Fox Sports 1, this is Mike Son Francesor on the Fan on this Wednesday, the 21st day of January. We'll play the contest later on today. A lot to do on this day. And again, we get deeper into this whole thing with the balls with the Pats. The Pats could have beat them that day if they used a wiffle ball. They could have used a golf ball. They could have used, as one of the Colts said, a bar of soap. We understand we all know, which makes they're doing this even more ridiculous. Anybody who game prepped or prepared a team like Belichick did knew that they had a huge advantage over the Colts in that game. I mean, some of us thought that all week, that they had a huge advantage over the Colts. The Colts didn't belong in that game. We understand that. But the fact now that what we're getting now leads to a level of cheating that I don't see how the league can't take some enormous step. If they would have had to change the entire ball bag. The referee stated that he checked those balls, and now 11 of the 12 balls were pounds under inflated, which means that they must have switched the entire ball bag. If you're the NFL, you cannot allow this to go on. Did it affect the game? Of course not. It didn't matter what ball they played with that day. All they do is hand something to the running back that they could run with, but it doesn't matter. The idea that you have rules and you have teams going to this level, they had to have the ball boy in on it. Now he's a team employee. He's getting paid, to work the game. He's a game day employee. He gets paid. You can't worry about the kid. He's a kid who's doing the ball boy. Most likely it could be a young guy, but I mean, it could be a grown man, but it could be also a teenager or, a young man or a college student. Who knows how old the guy was? The point is, you're now talking about 11 of the 12 balls were significantly underinflated. The referee says, now the question, you notice that the NFL has not leaked out one thing. Were these the balls? Are we accusing them of one thing or the other? Are we accusing them of changing the balls, or are we accusing them of taking the ball bag after the referee approved the balls and then letting the air out of them? Which would be the more cunning thing, because then the marker on them. Would the Pats be bold enough not to have the mark on it? Probably not. What we're accusing them of now is taking the entire ball bag away from the kid after the league approves it and the referee stamps them, and then deflating the balls. The ones he put a mark on. Because we're not talking about sneaking a ball in. We're talking about changing the whole ball bag. So they doctored. Now, they would not be dumb enough to not have the mark on them because they'd be dead. Now they're going to say, oh, the balls. Listen, you want to say one ball lost there, you get away with it. You want to say 11 of the 12 with 2 pounds underinflated? I mean, come on. Well, they let the air out of the balls. You want to talk about... One source described the league as distraught over this information. Distraught. This is not what the NFL needed. Going to a Super Bowl that was a very good one, 2 top teams, the team that has been the beacon of the AFC and has always had clouds around it, as we know, and then the team going for back-to-back championships coming off a miracle victory. You had yourself set up a tremendous ball game. But the NFL has had to deal with off-the-field problems and its image all year. Roger Goodell has had to deal with cover-ups. He's had to deal with the idea that he lied, the idea that he didn't do his job, the idea that he either was so insensitive to domestic violence or inept or just lied about what happened. The NFL has been trying to climb out from under that all year. They have had other issues with players. They have had legal problems. They have had all kinds of issues. And on top of that, they need to go to their game and have this issue raised in a 45-7 rout that the team that is always on the other side of this is now at it again. I mean, they have to be nuts. This is all you're going to hear about going to this game. You think Belichick's not going to hear about this when he goes to the media day at the Super Bowl and has thousands of reporters there asking him questions? You don't think there's going to be questions asked to Belichick in front of the cameras about this stuff? You don't think people are going to go in there who have nothing to do with football or aren't afraid of him and don't care that he's going to cut him out in the future, who are going to go stand in front of him and ask him these questions? This is a nightmare for the NFL. And just deal from it. Forget the idea that it didn't impact the game. We know it didn't. Like I said, they're going to play with a bar of soap. That's not the point. The point is now you're looking at a tremendous amount of dishonesty. They didn't sneak a ball in. They changed the whole bag. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then you have on top of this that Brad Johnson admits that before the Super Bowl, he found the balls so slick and so hard to deal with that I paid guys to get the balls right. And they took care of the balls for me. I paid them to doctor the balls. How much did you pay him? I paid him $7,500, and they took care of the balls. Why he admits this now, I have no idea. So the NFL now reporting that now it's being reported that 11 of the 12 balls were significantly underinflated for the game. This is after, remember, that in case you aren't aware of the process, each team submits the balls they want used to the referee. The referee, 2 hours and 15 minutes before the game, sits down. He comes up with 12 balls for the Colts. He stamps them. He brands them. He gives them. He puts them in their ball bag. That's their 12 balls, not kicking balls, for the game to be used by the quarterback. He then does the same thing for the Patriots. Different bag, different sideline, and gives the balls then to the ball boy. They are not allowed to be touched by anybody. They are game ready. They are approved. They are stamped by the referee. That's his job. They then took that bag and did their dirty work. Because the referee has stated that he checked all those balls and they were not underinflated. Wow. I don't know what the NFL. I don't know how they get out from under this one, because they have a problem on their hands. Because if they don't reprimand Bill Belichick now, it's going to look like Goodell is sweeping another story under the mat. And remember, this is the same guy who never let anybody see the tapes last time. Oh, the tapes were destroyed. Well, what about the public seeing the tapes? No, the tapes were destroyed. We destroyed the tapes. Well, what are you going to do this time? How are you going to sweep this under the carpet and not make it look like a complete cover-up going to the game? And the people who have been after the NFL all year are going to be there front and center when the commissioner has his press conference, and you're not going to be able to stop them from asking them questions. No matter how much you try and have Greg Aiello or whoever only call on the right people, they're going to be in the room. And the same thing for Belichick, who has to meet the media Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He has to stand in front of a podium and the public media Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How are they going to deal with that? They're not. They have got to have this rectified and have to have this off their plate before the teams take off for Arizona. This is a colossal nightmare for Goodell and the NFL and for Kraft. And Kraft has gone to the bat for Belichick before and tried to get leniency from the commissioner. Now he's got to go back again. And this just put an enormous damper on the game and on the Patriots. There's no way around it. Listen, again, don't call me and tell me, oh, they would have beat him anyway. We all know that. That's not the issue here. Think about the mindset that you're cheating in a game where you don't have to cheat. Cheating is cheating, but you got to cheat in a game where you're going to win anyway. Everyone's going to wait and see. The NFL is expected to wrap this up. Listen, they have to. Forget what the NFL is saying. The NFL has to have this wrapped up before the Patriots get on a plane for Arizona. They have to. They cannot have him land and give a public press conference because the media, every question is going to be about this. This cannot be, it's still going to be an issue. He's still going to have to answer the question. See, Belichick's going to get haunted with this next week. There's no way around it. He can sit there and say, no comment, no comment, no comment. What are you going to do? You're going to hide him, or are you going to have him stand there for an hour every day at the Super Bowl and say no comment? What's he going to say? On to Seattle, at the Super Bowl, on to Seattle. You can do that in your building, regular season, and everyone will think it's funny. You cannot do that in front of thousands of media people at the Super Bowl. It doesn't work. There you have to expound and you have to answer the questions. That's why the media is set up. That's why there's media days. He has got to face the music there, and he will face it from a lot of media that will go there just to ask him the tough question, who don't care about the game, who aren't there for the game, who will go just to ask Goodell the question on Friday, will go there just to ask Belichick the question. And the NFL knows that. And Greg Aiello knows that, and the NFL people are way smart enough to understand this. They have got to have this rectified, and the commissioner on television discussing this and probably holding a press conference and answering questions about how he meted out justice for this game. And if he just slaps him on the wrist, it's not going to go away next week now. And anything the Pats ever did, the litany, is going to be discussed next week. Because maybe enough time had passed that they were going to be able to go there and people weren't going to dredge up the Rams or weren't going to dredge up what went on. And now they are. And somebody's going to go drag Mike Martz out. And he's going to say, Mike, let's go through what happened. Tell me your side of the story. And they're going to get an earful. Because those guys have been dying to tell that story forever. I've sat with Marshall Faulk when he said, one of these days, I'm going to unload and tell everybody what I really think about that situation. Those guys have bitten their tongue about that game for a long time. It's all going to come streaming out now because of some ridiculous idea that they needed to take the air out of football. It is not the NFL's year. Goodell must be sitting up in his tower saying, man, this is not my year. Because it is in his lap again. Back after this.